how to get started actively investing. In this presentation, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on people who work a full-time job who want to build wealth through more active investing. This is according to my own experience, this is what I've done, this is what worked, and so on and so forth. Most people never get started. They're waiting for the perfect time to feel ready. And it will never come. There's never going to be a day where you wake up and think, oh, I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to start doing that. It just doesn't happen. So you almost need to act now, as they say. You don't need loads of money as well. People think they need loads of money. Like, oh, I'm going to wait till I have 100 grand saved up to start. I'm going to do that. You want to build the habits almost when you have no money, because when you have loads of money, assuming, you're working hard in other areas, perfect. You've got the good habits in place. People are overwhelmed by information. There's too much content. There's too many opinions, too many products. People just think like, where the hell do I start? But you need to kind of find something set on it and go all in on it. And, maybe do a little life audit, before you do this. But that's what I'd be doing. You're never going to feel ready. You do have enough money. And yes, there is too much information over there, but you need to find what information is relevant to you. So choose your asset. So start with assets you understand, keep it simple. I started with Bitcoin. I got into investing at the top of the 2021, November 2021, so at the top of the altcoin market. But I stuck around. It got me interested in financial markets. I was like, oh, cool, this could be a decent way of building wealth. I saw a lot of people like Grant Cardone, Kevin O'Leary, always talking about investing, and I kind of went down that rabbit hole. But yeah, I kind of got into it through there, and that process has really evolved over time. But typically for most people, gold and global indices are used as the safest starting point. They're safe, they've been around for years, usually they work. Value investors don't like gold, even though I think, maybe not now, but earlier in the year it had outperformed the S&P this century, I believe. Might be wrong on that one, which is funny. So I think those are two good starting points. But before you invest in something, you want to kind of understand what it is, what it does, and so on. The global stock market, very easy to understand. Gold, relatively easy to understand. So you want to have a thing, think about those side of things, and maybe just get some skin in the game. Just get invested, just get started, and then okay, cool, I'm in. I've dipped my toe in. We can go from there. And you want to avoid anything you saw on social media this week, because there's going to be so many headlines. Short term, the news changes so quick. One headline today is going to be different next week, and people just have short-term memories, right? So avoid things you see on social media. That'd be my advice. So find a style which fits around your life. So you have a full-time job, and people say, I don't have time. I have so many different areas in my life. Usually your priorities are wrong. Stop scrolling, stop consuming, stop reacting. Just find 30 minutes a day. That's all you need to start, researching. If you want to do more, great, but 30 minutes is probably about right. The weekly chart I mentioned there is a great starting point. One candle per week can fit around anyone's life, even if you're Elon Musk. It's slow enough where you don't need to check it all the time. It can be very useful. Now, your time frame will change though. So this is more related to technical analysis stuff, which is what I talk about. So I started on the 5 minute and I realized it won't work. So as I learned, I started looking at more things more broadly, and was like, okay, cool, this is my schedule. What can fit around my schedule? And that's what you need to do. You need to just, because you don't want it to be a burden on your life. You don't want investing and all this stuff to be almost feel like another job, unless you really want to go deep into it, which is great. But for most people, it's like, I want this to aid my life. But if you want it to aid your life, what is your current, a typical week? If you're working, if you've got the whatever going on in a week, what's the typical week? Okay, how can I fit stuff around that life? And then you want to ignore the noise. There's so many podcasts, Twitter, all this stuff, daily stuff happening, earnings, almost just kind of put that out there. But you need to find a time frame style, which could be, whatever, which fits around your life. And this is also for real estate. Like, you might say, I want to do real estate. Great. How can you fit that around your life? Is that something you can actually do? Is that something you can actually achieve? Then you're going to start to get good results. You can really build from there. That's like the foundations. So build a process and then let it evolve. So your process will only evolve as you do. So I started with Bitcoin only, as I mentioned earlier. Over time, I started looking at the NASDAQ, gold, and a more of a macro context, because I realized, if crypto's not moving, on a swing basis, I probably want to look at other things, and I have the capacity to do it. I have the time to do it. And then I always think it's good to write down every decision and why. Like, creating like a daily journal is good. So what I think a daily journal, why I thought it was really useful, was it's almost like you do your investing thing but you don't just turn up. And like, because for a year I was turning up to the charts and just like, right, where do I start? Whereas the journal was like, right, I come in and I check these things. It's almost like a checklist. It's like, right, I open my laptop, load up things, okay, and I boom, 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 check these things and I tick them off. And then I review it as time goes on, and then you'll see patterns of thinking, processing, all these type of things, and allow you to improve. And I think it just almost, you get that win for the day. If you're not able to get the charts for whatever reason, but you've got a Google Doc and you've got the app on your phone, pull it up, go on your checklist and just check things off. Makes you feel better. It almost reinforces that you're doing something right. So I think that's a really good way to get started. It's almost have a checklist, but you remember it's got to fit around your life. But you want to build a process which will evolve over time. And obviously, the most important one's manage your own risk. The goal is to not make loads of money. It's to stay in the game long enough to let compounding do the work. So you don't want to, see some 21-year-old kids on on social media, or someone like me telling you to invest in something and just putting all your money in. You want to, never invest money you can afford to lose, right? You don't want to just be gambling. People, I think, confuse trading and stuff with gambling. I was thinking about this, earlier, that the reason, the cause for billionaires might actually be active investing, money managers and so on. So are they gamblers? Who knows? But that's obviously going off a bit of a tangent there. Diversification always does work well. Position size, can matter more. So you definitely want to bear that in mind, especially being more active. But, manage your risk. Patience is the biggest risk, right? You're not going to be good overnight. If you think about it, I think a really good frame to have is the apprenticeship route. So if you're doing an apprenticeship, you're going to be on a really bad wage for maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, but you're going to get that qualification. Then afterwards, you're going to be making a lot of money. Just apply that to this and any other area in your life. Okay, cool. This is day one. It might take me 2-3 years to actually get good at it. I'm doing the apprenticeship. Same with, getting in shape. Maybe you're a bit overweight, you don't have much muscle, you want to get in, look better, whatever. Okay, day one, bang, the apprenticeship starts. And this is going to take 2 to 3 years to actually get to where I want to get to. So have that mindset, be patient. You're not going to be able to, do as much work because you've got other areas on in your life, but, you're not trying to generate loads of income, from this. You're trying to make sure that you can retire earlier. That's the goal. Or just have another skill to manage your own money and avoid black swan events and so on. So yeah, start small and just stay consistent. So start with an amount that does not stress for you. Consistency compounds faster than a lucky entry. Review your process, not just your returns. And the goal is to be doing this for a decade. People, I think, overlook trading in particular because it's like, it's gambling, it's course selling, all that. But as I mentioned earlier, so many wealthy people got rich through this, and the ability to apply your own process and do it and say, I'm going to buy this because of XYZ reason, because I've done the work, is so much better than just, I'm buying this because, dollar cost average and stuff. Now, if you want to just dollar cost average, great, do that. But I'm talking from more of a process standpoint. If you develop something and you buy it, and obviously it works, you feel like a genius. It's amazing, right? So, yeah, start small, stay consistent. You just got to, keep doing it. That is the way to do it. So the summary, you don't need more information. You just need to start. Choose your asset. Start with 1 or 2 you understand. Choose your time frame. The weekly chart will fit around your life. Build a process. Define your entry and exit criteria before you invest. You always probably want to think, where am I wrong before where I'm right? That's always kind of a good frame to have. Manage your risk and start small. And yeah, that's all you've got to do. You've just got to show up, find something which fits around your life, and you'll be absolutely fine. If you do want to find a newsletter which is going to fit around your life, I do have one, so the link for that will be in the description. I'll see you in the next one.